Have you ever felt trapped in a maze of familiar thoughts? You circle the same problems, seeking new answers, yet find yourself returning to the same mental pathways. It's a frustratingly common human experience, feeling locked within the confines of conventional thinking, unable to break free and see the world or your challenges with fresh eyes. You sense there must be another way, a different perspective waiting just beyond reach. We often look towards figures of genius like Albert Einstein and marvel at their seemingly effortless ability to perceive reality differently. They didn't just know more, they thought differently. Their minds operated on principles that shattered existing paradigms and reshaped our understanding of the universe. What was their secret? Was it simply innate talent or something more accessible, something we might learn from? The title mentions surprising science, but perhaps the surprise isn't about complex equations. It's about the underlying mental habits, the philosophical approach Einstein embodied. It suggests that the foundations of revolutionary thought might be simpler and stranger than we often assume. It hints that the key to unlocking different thinking isn't just about intellect, but about perspective and approach. So why did you click on this video? Perhaps you feel that creative spark dimming, or face a problem demanding a truly novel solution. Maybe you admire Einstein's legacy and wonder if some of that innovative spirit can be cultivated. You're likely seeking not just abstract ideas, but practical wisdom, a shift in view that could genuinely alter how you approach challenges and ideas. Let's embark on an exploration together, not into complex physics, but into the mindset that fosters groundbreaking thought. We'll use Einstein as our guide, unpacking the principles behind thinking different. This isn't about becoming Einstein, but about discovering the surprising, often simple, shifts in perspective that can unlock greater creativity and insight in our own lives. Our journey begins with a foundational pillar of Einstein's genius, the courage to question everything. Not just the complex theories, but the assumptions so deeply ingrained they seem like immutable laws of reality. He looked at concepts like time and space, things people took for granted, and dared to ask, are they truly fixed? Are they absolute? Think about the obvious truths in your own life or work. The unquestioned procedures, the standard ways of doing things, the common sense that dictates boundaries. These assumptions often form invisible walls around our thinking. Einstein showed us that the first step towards innovation is identifying these walls and poking at them with genuine curiosity. He famously conducted Jedinken thought experiments. He didn't always need a lab. His mind was his laboratory. Imagine chasing a beam of light. What would you see? This wasn't just idle daydreaming. It was a structured way of pushing known principles to their limits, exploring scenarios impossible to physically create but potent for revealing hidden truths. How can we apply this? Start small. Take a common object or routine situation in your day. Ask fundamental questions. Why is it this way? What assumptions underlie its existence or function? What if the core constraint were removed? Don't seek immediate answers, just practice the art of radical questioning, stretching your conceptual boundaries. This questioning wasn't born from arrogance, but from a deep, almost childlike curiosity. Einstein retained a sense of wonder about the world that many adults lose. He looked at a compass as a child and was mesmerized by the invisible force guiding the needle. This profound curiosity fueled his lifelong quest for understanding the universe's hidden mechanics. Curiosity is the engine of discovery. It pushes us beyond the surface level, urging us to look deeper, to understand the why behind the what. It's about finding fascination in the mundane, seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary. When was the last time you let yourself be completely captivated by a simple phenomenon, without rushing to label or categorize it? Cultivating curiosity means actively paying attention. Observe the world around you with fresh eyes. Notice the details, the patterns, the anomalies. Ask questions without judgment. Why does water behave that way? How does that structure stand? Let wonder guide your attention rather than efficiency or predetermined goals. This openness is fertile ground for new ideas. Einstein's curiosity wasn't limited to physics. He loved music, particularly Mozart and Bach, played the violin and sailed. This wasn't mere distraction, it was part of his process. Engaging different parts of the brain, exploring unrelated fields, can spark unexpected connections and offer novel perspectives on problems within one's primary domain. Consider your own interests outside your main focus. What seemingly unrelated hobbies or passions do you have? Instead of keeping them separate, consciously look for bridges. What principles from music could apply to your work problem? What does nature teach you about system design? Allow for cross-pollination of ideas across different domains of your life. This leads us to another crucial element, the power of imagination. Einstein famously stated, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." Knowledge is limited to what we already know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. It's the wellspring of truly novel thought. Imagination allows us to visualize the impossible, to play with concepts free from the constraints of current reality. Einstein's thought experiments were acts of profound imagination. He wasn't just rearranging known facts. He was creating new mental landscapes, exploring what-if scenarios that push the boundaries of physics itself. How often do we suppress our imagination in favor of serious, logical thinking? We dismiss playful ideas as unrealistic or childish. Yet, it's often in this playful, imaginative space that breakthroughs occur. Allowing your mind to wander, to entertain seemingly absurd notions, can break rigid thought patterns and reveal unexpected pathways. Practice engaging your imagination deliberately. Take a problem you're facing. Instead of only logical analysis, ask fantastical questions. What if gravity worked differently here? What if communication was instantaneous? What if resources were infinite? Don't censor yourself. Let the imaginative scenarios unfold and see what novel insights emerge from the absurdity. This imaginative play connects deeply with another Einsteinian trait, combinatory play. This is the ability, famously explored by thinkers like Poincaré, to take elements from different, seemingly unrelated fields and combine them in new ways. Einstein combined concepts like energy, mass, and the speed of light in a way no one had before. Think of it like mental alchemy. You take base elements, ideas, concepts, observations from diverse sources, and through curiosity and imagination you try to combine them. Sometimes the result is dross, but sometimes you stumble upon gold, a novel insight, a creative solution, a new perspective born from an unexpected fusion. This requires a broad base of knowledge and experience, gathered through relentless curiosity. The more diverse your inputs, reading widely, talking to people outside your field, exploring different cultures and disciplines, the richer the palette of elements you have available for combinatory play. You need diverse ingredients to create novel recipes. Don't just consume information passively. Actively look for connections. As you read an article on biology, ask how its principles might relate to business strategy. While listening to music, consider its structure in relation to a design problem. Treat your mind like a crucible where disparate ideas can meet, interact, and potentially fuse into something new. But thinking differently isn't purely about logic, questioning, or even active combination. Einstein often spoke of intuition, a feel for the principles governing the universe. There were moments where the solution seemed to arrive almost fully formed, guided by a deeper, less conscious process. This suggests the importance of intuition alongside rigorous analysis. Intuition isn't magic. It's often the result of the subconscious mind processing vast amounts of information and experience, recognizing patterns that the conscious mind hasn't yet formulated. It's the fruit of deep immersion, prolonged observation, and countless hours spent grappling with a subject. It arises from saturation, not from a vacuum. To cultivate intuition, we need to create space for it. This means stepping away from constant mental chatter and problem solving. Activities like walking in nature, listening to music, meditation, or even simply allowing unstructured downtime can allow the subconscious insights to surface. Einstein often had his breakthroughs during walks or while playing his violin. Pay attention to those gut feelings, hunches, or sudden insights that seem to come out of nowhere. Don't dismiss them immediately. Instead, gently examine them. What might they be based on? Even if they aren't fully correct, they might contain a kernel of truth or point towards a fruitful direction that logic alone missed. Treat intuition as a valuable data point. Underlying all these elements, questioning, curiosity, imagination, combination, intuition, is the importance of deep observation. Einstein was a master observer, not just of physical phenomena, but of the inconsistencies and paradoxes within existing theories. He noticed things others overlooked, seeing the subtle clues that pointed towards a deeper reality. Deep observation goes beyond just looking. It involves truly seeing. It means paying attention without immediate judgment or categorization. It involves noticing the nuances, the textures, the relationships between things. It's about perceiving the world with a heightened sense of presence and clarity, allowing reality to impress itself upon you more fully. Practice this in everyday life. Choose an object, a tree, a building, even your own hand, and simply observe it for several minutes. Notice its form, color, texture, the play of light and shadow. Resist the urge to name or analyze. Just observe. This practice trains your attention and enhances your ability to perceive subtle details often missed. Einstein's genius also involved recognizing patterns where others saw only chaos or unrelated data points. His theories emerged from identifying underlying principles that connected seemingly disparate phenomena. This ability to synthesize, to see the unifying structure beneath the surface complexity, is a hallmark of profound insight. Pattern recognition isn't just about visual patterns. It's about conceptual patterns, recurring themes, underlying principles. It develops through exposure to diverse information, feeding the combinatory engine, and through focused contemplation, allowing the mind to compare, contrast, and link different pieces of knowledge. Look for the recurring notes in the symphony of information. A surprising element often accompanying breakthrough thinking is the embrace of simplicity. While the journey might involve complexity, the resulting insights are often elegantly simple. Think E equals mc2. Einstein sought the simplest possible explanations that could account for the observed phenomena. He believed that nature ultimately favored elegance and simplicity. This isn't simplistic thinking, which ignores complexity. It's simplicity found on the other side of complexity. It's about distilling the essence, finding the fundamental principle after grappling with all the details. Striving for elegance and clarity in your own thinking and expression can be a powerful tool for deeper understanding. When faced with a complex problem, resist the urge to add more complexity. Instead, ask, what is the absolute core of this issue? What is the simplest underlying principle at play? Can I explain this in a way a child could grasp? This pursuit of fundamental simplicity often leads to more powerful and robust solutions. Another key aspect, often overlooked, is the willingness to be wrong. Einstein's path was not a straight line to truth. He explored ideas that didn't pan out, made mistakes, and revised his thinking. True intellectual exploration requires the humility to accept errors not as failures, but as essential parts of the learning and discovery process. Fear of failure, fear of looking foolish, can paralyze unconventional thinking. If you only pursue ideas guaranteed to work, you'll likely stay within established boundaries. Embracing experimentation means accepting that many attempts will lead nowhere, but those failures provide valuable information and refine your understanding, paving the way for eventual success. Cultivate a mindset where mistakes are data. When an idea doesn't work, ask why. What assumption was incorrect? What did this experiment reveal? Frame errors as discoveries about what doesn't work, which is just as crucial as finding what does. This reframing liberates you to explore more daringly. This entire approach requires a degree of intellectual independence. Einstein wasn't afraid to diverge from the prevailing scientific consensus. He trusted his reasoning and intuition, even when it led him down paths others dismissed. Thinking differently means being willing to stand apart, at least temporarily, from the crowd. This doesn't mean ignoring others' work. Einstein built upon the foundations laid by giants like Newton, Maxwell, and Planck. But he didn't merely accept their frameworks. He critically examined them, synthesized them, and ultimately transcended them where necessary. Independence means thinking for yourself, not necessarily by yourself. Develop confidence in your own judgment through rigorous practice. Test your ideas, seek feedback, refine your reasoning. The more you engage in the process of questioning, exploring, and creating, the stronger your intellectual foundation becomes, allowing you to navigate differing opinions with greater clarity and conviction. Trust built on diligence, not dogma. Thinking differently also benefits immensely from collaboration and conversation, but of a specific kind. Einstein discussed his ideas intensely with colleagues like Michel Besso and Marcel Grossman. These weren't echo chambers. They were environments for rigorous debate, shared exploration, and mutual challenge, sharpening his thinking. Seek out diverse perspectives. Engage in dialogue with people who think differently from you. Approach these conversations not as battles to be won, but as opportunities to learn, refine your own ideas, and uncover blind spots. Constructive disagreement can be incredibly fertile ground for intellectual growth and innovation. Furthermore, Einstein possessed immense perseverance. Developing the theory of general relativity took years of intense effort, navigating complex mathematics and numerous setbacks. Groundbreaking ideas rarely arrive overnight. They require sustained focus, dedication, and the resilience to keep going despite obstacles and frustrations. Innovation is often a marathon, not a sprint. There will be periods of slow progress, confusion, and doubt. The ability to maintain focus on the long-term vision, even when short-term results are elusive, is crucial. Cultivating patience and resilience is as important as intellectual brilliance for achieving significant breakthroughs. How can we cultivate this perseverance? Break down large goals into smaller steps. Celebrate small victories along the way. Remind yourself of the deeper why driving your efforts. And importantly, learn to rest and recharge, preventing burnout. Sustained effort requires managing your energy, not just exerting willpower. Let's pause and synthesize. We've explored key elements inspired by Einstein's approach: radical questioning, childlike curiosity, potent imagination, combinatory play, trusting intuition, deep observation, pattern recognition, striving for simplicity, embracing error, intellectual independence, constructive collaboration, and perseverance. These aren't isolated tricks, they form an interconnected mindset. Now, how do we bridge this to our lives? The surprising science isn't just about understanding Einstein. It's about realizing these principles are fundamentally human capacities, accessible to all of us. The key is conscious cultivation. It starts with shifting our internal perspective on how thinking happens and what truly fosters innovation. Consider, where in your life have you accepted assumptions without question? Could you apply Einstein's radical questioning to one small area today? Maybe it's a routine at work, a belief about your own capabilities, or a way you interact with others. Simply identifying an unquestioned assumption is the first step. Reignite your curiosity. Today, consciously choose to observe something mundane with fresh eyes. Spend 5 minutes looking at the clouds, the texture of a piece of fruit, or the way light falls across a room. Ask why like a child. Let wonder, not efficiency, guide your attention for a brief period. Notice how this shifts your awareness. Allow yourself moments of imaginative play. When faced with a challenge, dedicate just a few minutes to brainstorming completely unrealistic solutions. What if you had magical powers? What if the laws of physics were different? Don't judge the ideas. Simply let your imagination roam freely. You might be surprised by the novel angles that emerge. Practice combinatory thinking intentionally. Take two completely unrelated interests or pieces of information from your day. Spend a few minutes actively trying to find a connection, an analogy, or a synthesis between them. How might insights from gardening inform your approach to team management? What can a piece of music teach you about structuring a presentation? Create space for intuition. Schedule brief moments of quiet reflection into your day. Go for a short walk without your phone. Sit quietly and focus on your breath. Allow your mind to wander without a specific goal. This isn't laziness. It's actively creating the conditions for subconscious insights to surface. Enhance your observational skills. Pick one routine activity, like drinking your morning coffee or commuting, and try to notice 5 new details you've never paid attention to before. The way the steam rises, the sounds around you, the expressions on people's faces. Train your mind to absorb more from the present moment. Look for patterns in your own life and work. Keep a journal, review past projects, or simply reflect on recurring themes and challenges. What underlying principles seem to be at play? Are there repeating cycles? Stepping back to see the bigger picture can reveal insights hidden in the day-to-day details. Practice finding simplicity. Take a complex idea or explanation you're working with and try to articulate its core essence in a single sentence. Use the simplest language possible. Can you create an analogy that captures its heart? This process forces clarity and deeper understanding. Reframe your relationship with mistakes. When something doesn't go as planned, consciously avoid blame or excessive frustration. Instead, adopt a curious mindset. Interesting. Why did that happen? What can I learn from this? Treat setbacks as valuable feedback, part of the iterative process of learning and creation. Cultivate intellectual independence by forming your own opinions based on evidence and reasoning, even if they differ from the norm. Practice articulating your perspective respectfully but confidently. Read primary sources when possible. Question expert opinions constructively. Build your capacity for self-directed thought. Seek out constructive dialogue. Initiate conversations with people who hold different viewpoints. Ask genuine questions to understand their reasoning. Share your own perspective clearly and be open to having it challenged. Focus on mutual understanding rather than winning the argument. Nurture perseverance by connecting with your intrinsic motivation. Why does this goal matter to you? Keep that purpose in mind during difficult times. Break daunting tasks into manageable chunks and acknowledge your progress. Remember that significant achievements are built incrementally through sustained effort. Thinking differently, as exemplified by Einstein, is not a mysterious gift bestowed upon a chosen few. It is a practice, a set of mental habits and perspectives that can be consciously cultivated. It's about shifting how we engage with the world, with information, and with our own minds. The surprising science is perhaps this: that profound innovation often springs from simple shifts in perspective, embracing curiosity, questioning the obvious, playing with ideas, and connecting the dots in novel ways. It's less about innate genius and more about acquired wisdom in how to think. By adopting even a few of these principles, we can begin to loosen the grip of conventional thinking. We can enhance our creativity, find more innovative solutions to problems, and experience a richer, more engaged relationship with the world around us. It's about unlocking potential that already exists within us. It's not about discarding logic or rigor. Einstein was deeply logical and mathematically rigorous. It's about integrating these approaches with imagination, intuition, and curiosity. It's about using the whole mind, not just the analytical part. Thinking differently is thinking holistically. Consider the vastness of the unknown, the mysteries yet to be solved. not just in science, but in our own lives and societies. These challenges demand new ways of thinking. They call for the courage to question, the curiosity to explore, and the imagination to envision different possibilities. The legacy of Einstein isn't just his theories. It's a testament to the power of a mind willing to break free from convention. It serves as an inspiration, a reminder that the human capacity for innovative thought is immense, waiting to be nurtured and unleashed through conscious practice. So the next time you feel stuck in a mental rut, remember these principles. Ask, what would Einstein do? Not in terms of physics, but in terms of approach. Would he question the fundamental premise? Would he engage his imagination? Would he seek connections others miss? Use his mindset as a catalyst for your own thinking. Thinking differently isn't about being contrarian for its own sake. It's about seeking deeper understanding, more effective solutions, and a more authentic connection to reality. It requires courage, openness, and a persistent commitment to learning and growth. It is, in essence, a philosophical orientation towards the world. Embrace the surprising simplicity behind profound innovation. Start today. Choose one principle: curiosity, questioning, imagination, and consciously apply it, even in a small way. Notice the shift, however subtle. This is how the journey towards thinking differently begins, not with a giant leap, but with a single, intentional step. What assumption will you challenge today? What object will you observe with fresh curiosity? What impossible idea will you allow yourself to entertain? The power to think differently resides not in exceptional circumstances, but in the choices we make about how to engage our minds, moment by moment. The universe is infinitely complex and fascinating. Our minds possess an incredible capacity to explore, understand, and create within it. By cultivating the habits of mind exemplified by thinkers like Einstein, we not only enhance our own potential but participate more fully in the grand, ongoing adventure of discovery. Let this exploration not be merely intellectual. Let it resonate deeper. Feel the invitation to open your mind, to play with ideas, to see the world with the wonder it deserves. Thinking differently is ultimately about living more fully, more creatively, and perhaps more wisely. It's about recognizing that the way things are is not necessarily the way they must be. That perception is malleable, and that new possibilities are constantly waiting to be discovered, often hidden in plain sight, accessible through a simple shift in perspective. The seemingly solid walls of limitation are often more porous than we think. Remember Einstein chasing that beam of light in his mind. It was playful, yet profound. It bypassed incremental steps and went straight to a fundamental question. What beam of light could you chase in your own field, in your own life? What fundamental, what if question could unlock a new way of seeing? The journey requires patience with oneself. Cultivating these mental habits takes time and consistent effort. There will be days when familiar thought patterns dominate. Be gentle, acknowledge it, and simply return to the practice. Return to curiosity, return to questioning, return to wonder. Progress lies in the persistence, not perfection. Think of your mind not as a fixed entity, but as a garden. You can choose which seeds to plant: curiosity, imagination, and which weeds to gently remove: rigid assumptions, fear of failure. With care and attention, you can cultivate a mental landscape that yields extraordinary blooms of insight and creativity. The surprising truth is that the capacity for innovative thought isn't confined to laboratories or academic halls. It's relevant everywhere: in parenting, in relationships, in community building, in personal growth. Applying these principles can enrich every facet of our existence, helping us navigate life's complexities with greater grace and ingenuity. So let the spirit of Einstein's approach inspire you. Not to replicate his achievements, but to embrace the underlying method, the courage to see differently, the joy of discovery, the relentless pursuit of understanding, and the profound power of a curious and imaginative mind. The world constantly evolves. The challenges we face demand adaptability and fresh perspectives. By cultivating the ability to think different, we not only empower ourselves but also contribute to the collective potential for positive change and innovation. Your unique perspective, once unleashed, has value. Thank you for joining this exploration into the mindset behind thinking differently. May you carry forward the spark of curiosity, the courage to question, and the boundless potential of your own imagination into every aspect of your life's journey. The adventure of insight is always just beginning. What single assumption will you question this week? Share your thoughts, perhaps not in the comments, but in your own journal, in your own reflections. Let the questioning begin within. The universe awaits your unique perspective.